Ah, yes. So what do you do on a Saturday night when you're bored and have nothing better to do? Well, you live stream, I guess. And I've always been one of these people that like I've been really against live streaming, and for some reason here, like we've been doing it. And I was talking to Wuhan Lawai, one of them like, hey, Wuhan Lawai, I think live streaming is so worthless. And now apparently I'm here on a live stream 20 minutes later, I guess, 10 minutes later, something like that. So I figured in this video, since it's just kind of a rant and not something that's like, good enough to make a video, damn it. Sometimes you don't want to, you want to talk about something, but you don't want to just edit a video, spend an hour editing a video. And that is, of course, as the title says, right, anti-China. Am I anti-China, right? Well, to answer that in a very specific and easy answer, I'm going to say no. Of course not. Why would I come here on a live stream to tell you that I'm anti-China? Because I'm not crazy, right? Definitely not anti-China. And the real question should be, am I anti-China, or is like anyone in this YouTube China stratosphere, is anyone actually kind of a silly question? Because I can't really think of anyone that is anti-China. And if you can think of anyone that's anti-China, like send me a PM, put it in the comment section, because I don't really know anyone that is anti-China per se, right? I don't know anyone in this community that has just been like, oh man, I hate China so much. Like, no one does that, right? I've just never met anyone that just claims to hate China but continues to make videos about China, right? No one hates themselves. That whole anti-China thing is just a certain way to down talk a lot of people, to say, oh, this guy, this girl, this person, they're anti-China. They're anti-China. It's like it's this thing that works with Chinese people, because Chinese people over time have been conditioned to think that they're on one side and then like everyone else is on another. And so this thing is perpetuated where it's like, oh, you're not on the China side, you're anti-China. And I think that's a very black and white thing, right? Like it's just not realistic. It's just not possible for real life. It's just very difficult to say that someone is pro-China or anti-China, because I don't think anyone is 100% pro-China, and I don't think anyone is 100% anti-China, right? But it's definitely something that's being thrown around within the community, and people will use it as an insult. They'll say, "Oh, well, you are pro-China or anti-China," which is why in my videos I work very hard, or try to at least say that people are pro-CCP, right? Pro-CCP shills, because there's nothing wrong with being pro-China, right? There's nothing wrong with liking Chinese people, Chinese food, Chinese things. So I think that we have to be very specific in that case when we say, pro-CCP, pro-people, and things like that. It's very easy to say, China makes good phones, or China does this, or China does that, right? But when you're talking about the government, right, it's something completely different. It's very specific, right? And the other thing to be said is that, like, the people that have created this pro-China and anti-China, interesting when you think about it, because of course the history of the China community per se, whatever you want to call it, Serpent Today, of course, who is the original China vlogger, or whatever, right? He's actually considered an anti-China vlogger by these people now, right? So it's like, how is the original China vlogger? How is he like an anti-China vlogger when he was, the original, right? He was the one that sort of started it, right? So it's not something that has been been started by people like Serpent ZA or Lao Y86 or even myself, right? Like I never cared about who was pro-China or anti-China because it was never really a discussion of if it was even a real thing, right? Because it's not a real thing. Again, I don't know anyone that is anti-China that hates China, right? It's everyone that says that they dislike China. What they mean is that they dislike the governance, the politics, those times of things. No one is hating on Chinese people. It's not to say that like racism doesn't exist and that there's not people out there that hates Chinese people, but that is wrapped up in ignorance, right? That is not the majority of people. So most people, when the anti-China, the pro-China thing, they're talking about government, right? They're saying, oh, I dislike the government. And again, it was never created by me. I don't think there's any pro-China, anti-China. So there is that. And I think the other thing is that most of the people that are considered, anti-China per se, are usually people that have invested the most or the longest amount of time in China, which is quite strange because when someone says that I'm anti-China, I'm like, wow, really? Is it possible? It makes me question. I'm like, is it possible that perhaps I'm anti-China now? And the answer is no, right? Because my opinion like never changed on China, on the political aspect of China. My political aspect on China has never changed. I've always felt the same. When I first went to China, I went in knowing what it was politically, and not so much a lot of the other things. Honestly, I didn't know what it would be like. But to say that like I'm anti-China when I knew politically from the start that politically it would be shit, right? So I never changed. I never became anti-China. It's just I think that there's a natural progression of people that when you live in China, you're very aware that you have to be PC. You have to be politically correct in a sense. You can't run around saying Xi Jinping is crap, right? You just can't do it. And anyone that tells you that you can, like they're wrong. I'm sorry, but they're wrong. You just you can't do that. So everyone in China that lives in China kind of censors themselves, to some extent. And perhaps I think that's kind of why there's this pro-China and you're anti-China, right? And I always thought it was really strange that people would say, "Oh, you're anti-China. You're anti-China. Why are you anti-China?" And I would always question, like, what have I done that is so anti-China? I don't think that I've done anything that's anti-China. I think I've pointed out a lot of negatives towards government and things, like that. And I think a lot of people have done that. And I think the other thing is a lot of the pro, again, quotes. I've used a lot of quotes already. A lot of these people that tell you that they're pro-China have also said negative things politically about China, and they just don't air it out in public. I think that's kind of a difference in people and opinion, is that some people are willing to air out their negative thoughts in public and share that and be honest about that. When you live in China, it really is difficult. Maybe those people don't want to, and maybe they can't, right? Depending on your thoughts of how you feel politically, and that was really how I felt when I lived in China. I loved China so much, and I enjoyed being in China, but I hated being in China around the political situation, because one thing about China is that the politics affects you, greatly when you're there, just like it does everyone, right? The politics does affect you greatly. And so when I left China, and I could say whatever I wanted to say all the time. It was like a weight lifted off of my shoulders, and I could be like, hey, this is the truth. This is how I feel about China. And I think that when you don't have the ability to do something for so long, and then you do it, people think that like there's this insane change, right? They're like, oh, he went from pro-China to anti-China, when perhaps you had that feeling the entire time. You just weren't able to voice it. So let me read some comments here real quick. I don't want to just talk forever. Probably only going to do a stream for maybe 30 minutes. Let's see. Zach P, you're anti-Guelo. Yeah, I have to be honest. Guelo's probably the only one in the Chinese community, the Chinese vlogger community, that I dislike. Daniel Dumbrill and Barrett and all those guys, it's largely just for poking fun politically. It's not dislike, it's not hatred. So yeah, maybe there is some truth in that. Jedi Solo, being anti any country does not make sense. Countries and people are innocent, but the government are wrong. That's true, right? Like that's the main thing, is like in some countries, people have far more control over the government, and I've always had that discussion with people, is that it's a lot easier, I think, to dislike the government of China, because it's so different, and the way that it treats people as a Westerner is so like different for us, right? Like to see a government that treats their people that way gives us an easy outlet to complain about. So perhaps it seems like some of us are just harping and crying and whining and complaining, but when you see such a difference from your own country, again, it just makes it easy to complain, I think. Let's see. When you live in China, it's basically required to be on it. Yes, that's true. Zach B says, I don't censor myself. Never. Yeah, I think like, I don't think you have to 100% censor yourself. I definitely made some risky videos in China. I called China like the world's largest prison in China. But I think the thing is I never mentioned names. I never went out of my way to go after like Guangzhou politicians and be like, hey, this dude's a piece of crap or whatever. Again, I pushed the envelope, but I never did something directly that would embarrass a single person directly. And I did have a couple videos that I took down because they started to get maybe too many views and they would be too negative. So I think it's definitely possible. And I think that you definitely realize that whenever you have a video that's a little on the edge and you have to take it down because it is risky, right? And that's why people that live in China sometimes could seem like they're very pro-China when in fact they're just not able to tell you the whole truth. Let's see, self-censorship has gotta suck. Yeah, it does, actually. It really does, because like as a Westerner, we're always like, oh, screw this guy. We hate that. We dislike that. We love this. We love that. And, that's kind of how we express ourselves. And then you get to China and it's very one-sided, right? You have this issue of you can't complain. And I know I'm like scratching myself like I'm on drugs or something, but I'm not. So just ignore that. But no, like, yeah, you run out of your freedom and then you realize that you can't complain. And then when you get that freedom back, it's like you want to go on a complaining spree, and you put out like 10 or 15 videos complaining, and people are like, oh, he changed. And, that's just not really true. Let's see, how much did I miss? Didn't know about this stream. I didn't know about this stream. I didn't even know about it. I was like, let me just turn on the stream and do a self-stream. I've been streaming with a lot of other people, so I was like, let me talk about, being anti-China, because am I anti-China? Because it's not something I think I could make a whole video about and put B-roll together and do some like crazy crazy stuff. It's just talking head, so it was easy to do, and so that's why I'm doing it. So hopefully it gets me some watch time. Let's see. You think Biden can continue Trump's anti-China campaign? So I will be honest. I'm usually a Republican voter. I don't like Biden. I think he has I feel like Biden is a weak version of Obama, and I feel like Obama didn't do super amazing anyways. And I feel like Obama or Biden. I think that China definitely wants Biden to win. If I was China, I wouldn't want Trump to win, and I just think that that's because Trump is a little, shall we say, he'll say whatever he wants to say. He kind of pushes the envelope and things and does things that most people wouldn't do. And I feel like I feel like Joe Biden is he's gonna kiss some of that Xi Jinping butt if he wins presidency. But I don't think he will. I don't think. Unfortunately, I think Hillary Clinton was a lot stronger than Joe Biden. And if Donald Trump can mock and destroy Hillary on stage, then he can definitely make Joe Biden appear half retarded. No offense to people that are retarded, but yeah, definitely like borderline dementia appearing. So I don't think Joe Biden will do nearly as well as some people think. Let's see. You have lice. No, I don't. I was gonna say I don't have enough hair to have lice, but I guess that's definitely not true. You could still have lice. If you tell the truth, it's better to not be on WeChat or any social media. The funny thing is now that I'm in America, I still have so many friends in China that I talk about all my videos on WeChat. And some of the stuff that we say on WeChat is kind of like, should we be talking about this on WeChat? It's quite funny because I've never been banned on WeChat. I've had some articles that I posted on my Moments. I've had them taken down. That's happened before, and they've disappeared. But I've never had my WeChat blocked, and that's definitely possible. It has happened to people before where their entire WeChat account gets blocked or muted or something, right? So it's never happened to me, but okay. The Democrats kiss China's ass. Man, you said it. You said it, not me. But I agree. Do you think China and India will continue to have border clashes? Yes. I don't think that this is like an India, and I'm getting way off topic here, but it doesn't matter, I guess. I don't think that India and China is necessarily a thing as much as I think that China and India and Vietnam and Japan and the Philippines and everyone in that general area has an issue. China and Russia have even had issues in the past before over land disputes. And, sure, as Americans, we're building a wall, but we're not trying to take Mexico. Sure, we already did that, but, that was a long time ago. And that's a mistake that we realize now shouldn't be made. And, again, I think it's just in today's age, when you build a military base out in the water and, a lot of other countries get mad at you and you're like, oh, you guys are anti-China. You guys are anti-China. Why you hate China so much, Vietnam? Why you hate us? It's obviously because you're building an island out in the middle of the water. And it's the same thing with India, right? Why are there land disputes with India? And why are there land disputes with Japan and all these other countries, ocean water disputes, right? So it's not necessarily just it's not just it's not just that type of thing with India. So it's a lot of other things. Let's see. Oh, look at Sketchy Dustin. He disagrees. He's like, when when do Democrats kiss China's butt? You know, free trade and moving production to China. The Republicans are the ones who were for free trade. I don't know. I mean, I suppose if like you consider Donald Trump to be a Democrat, you know, because like he's the one that's like talking about moving everything out of China, you know, which is usually very anti-Republican. Usually Republicans are more for free trade. But, you know, it's very difficult to be free trade with a country like China because they're not free trade. You know, China very much controls trade and things too. You know, the whole thing about like tariffs, and people are like, oh, tariffs, you know, America's using tariffs now. Well, China's had tariffs for a long, long time on America, you know, so free trade with China has been dead for years and years and years. That's why there are like cars. American cars cost more in China than they do in other countries, you know, because they have an import tax, right? They have a luxury goods tax on a lot of things from outside. And so free market trade has been dead with China for a long time anyways. It's not, you know, it's just not possible. So let's see. Seems counterintuitive though, because India was not growing their military and alliance before. Sure. I think here's the thing is that you look at every country that China has issues with, and America's consistently trying to sell them, you know, military things, especially people like Taiwan. Like it was kind of a big deal. It was a big discussion when America had started selling jets again to Taiwan, right? And it really is important because I think China realizes that there's a lot of countries around them that are not, you know, maybe not so friendly, that they've burned bridges with in the past, and that politically, you know, is quite dangerous, you know, for China. So I think, and India is that one of those countries that like they're always down with America. They're always like, hey man, like can we help? Like India always wants to help America. Like India are like way better friends to America than like we ever give them credit for. So yeah. Let's see. Clinton signed off on bringing China along. So Bush didn't. I think Clinton pushed China. You know, I think here's the thing is that at one time, even this whole like anti-China, anti-America thing was that America had really hoped, you know, America really hoped that if we opened trade with China that, and of course everyone's heard this before, that it would move China more towards, you know, democracy and things like that and free trade, and it definitely hasn't, right? Because communism is just so tough and so powerful and so much above capitalism and socialism and all of these other things that, you know, our attempt of opening them has been a failure. And even Donald Trump, like with North Korea and things, and he's like, you know, well, we'll go and we'll talk to them and all this stuff. Like it's just, you know, you really can't. You're not going to change that entire system in China. You're not going to change that entire system in North Korea. It has to change on its own in time. And, you know, perhaps it never will, right? Perhaps it won't change on its own. And I think that's what America has come to the realization, you know, now is that we expected China to change years and years and years ago. And it never really did. Like maybe for a while, you know, it opened up. You know, there have definitely been more liberal people within the Chinese Communist Party over the years, but it seems now like it's yeah, Xi Jinping is he's not so liberal, right? So. Communism in China is only communism when it is convenient. Capitalism is pervasive here. Yeah. Communism is always just going to be that top, right? I think everyone realizes that communism on its own sucks. And that's not just because it's communism. That's because any political system that you have on its own sucks, right? Like if you just have capitalism, it's going to suck. If you just have socialism, it's going to suck, right? But the thing is that like communism depends a lot on capitalism, on socialism. Whereas if you can really do without communism, and a lot of countries, most of them do without communism. And again, communism is a Western thing. It's not a Chinese thing. They took that shit from us, and we quit doing it because it sucked. So again, that's the reason that I think that more people are say, oh, they're anti-China. Prime in China, he's anti-China, but I'm not. I'm just against the system because I realize that the system it sucks, right? History has showed that it sucks. It doesn't work, and there's better systems, especially for people that live within that country. So, yeah. China is a Stalinist corporate. Yeah. Yes, Jay. Yes, Jay. I know you, Jay. Yeah, send me a message on WeChat, man. I'll talk to you in a bit. Oh gosh, Animal Farm. I think how like anyone that wants to discuss like China and like some negative things about China, they always bring up Animal Farm. It's always like it's always that ebook. It's like on your tablet. And you're like, hey guys, do you guys want to read? And like you pull that book out, and then it's like you're gonna like you'll anger some people, right? That's for sure. Are you seeing any truth to the story that more people in China are losing fear of the government? Well, I'm going to say no, 100% no. I know so many Chinese people that I still talk to every single day, people that I love that are super intelligent people. People that I can talk about in confidence about China politically. And, some of those people are even people that I've streamed with here before. And someone got angry because I pointed out the fact that they wouldn't talk about certain subjects with me live on YouTube because of their fear, right? And so when people say to me, well, you're anti-China, and I say, no, I'm anti-government, it's kind of like, can you blame me? When you have people that are afraid to discuss certain topics, it tells you that something is wrong. Something is not right. In America, it's very true that if you say the wrong thing, you could be prosecuted by the public. The public could be very harsh on you, especially if you're famous or known, especially if you're like some a-hole in McDonald's and you start just being really racist. Like people could come at you, bro. Especially if you're wearing like a MAGA hat or something. So you could be punished socially by people. But it's quite different when in China, the public is aware that the government is able to punish you for something. Because, I can't necessarily put you in jail myself for doing something in America. But in China, yeah, no, people are afraid of certain topics and things. I always tell the same story. I used to talk to taxi drivers in China because taxi drivers are the most interesting people because they always point out the fact that like you're a foreigner, and they would always point out the fact that I'm fat, and I'm like, yes, I know I'm fat. And they would be like, so where are you from? And of course they would bring up Trump, and I would bring up their president, and they would just be silent. Like they didn't even want to talk about him. They would just be like, yeah, he's great. I'm like, so what has he done that's really great? Can you explain? And they would just be like, nah. Like they wouldn't, I'm sure he's done some great things, right? But they wouldn't even want to discuss it, right? It's just that like fear of, hey, maybe this is risky, right? I shouldn't be doing this. And to me, that's really strange because like I always tell people like if I want to go outside and be like screw Donald Trump, like I could do that, and like nothing's gonna happen. Sure, some Trump fans are gonna be mad and whatever, but it's socially done. It's not through a government, right? So yeah. Oh my gosh, Dr. Death, how are you doing, Dr. Death? Mr. Dr. Death, you are an active person on my channel. I appreciate that. I really do. And I do want to say that I appreciate everybody that has been active, on my channel. A lot of times I feel like I thank patrons, for being active on my channel, and I do appreciate it a lot. The fact that people give money like at all is like insane. Why would you give like this guy money? I don't know. But just commenting, just being active in the chat, guys, it really is important. It really does. It's the reason that I make videos, even though I don't get a lot of views, I don't have a lot of subs. I do appreciate it, guys. I really do. Obama was trying to get China to get back in line with TPP. All countries fight China's bullshit. Clinton was also hoping the internet would get loose in China. Yeah, I think that's the biggest obstacle, is that the internet is so powerful nowadays. The internet is everything, right? And when you control the internet, you control the mind of people, right? If you control the internet, you control the mind, you control sports, you control people's feelings, and you just control everything, right? And so it's really bad when you only have one source that controls the internet, because you really need more than one opinion, because sometimes in a gray area, it's not a fact, and sometimes people are just going to have a preference. It's like art. Like there's no true definition of art, right? And so just having that free and open thing is nice. And there's no again, with politics, there's no political system that's perfect by any means. There are plenty of great countries in Europe that do things different than we do in America, and they're wonderful countries, right? So to only have one political system that controls the internet completely and tells everyone all the time that their political system is 100% perfect and great and everything is just wonderful is it's kind of depressing. It stifles development to the extreme. And when you're limiting your development to a few short amount of people within a certain party, and they're making all of the decisions, for essentially 3 billion people, you have a major problem. Palestinians and Jews lived next door to each other before the Zionists implemented cultural genocide. That is like a really deep discussion that is interesting. That if I wasn't a China channel, I would probably talk about. Yeah, definitely interesting stuff. Oh my gosh. But yeah, just to continue that conversation, am I anti-China? Man, I don't think so. I don't think that Serpent ZA or Laowai86. I don't think that any of these people or myself are anti-China. I just think that we have a large disagreement about government, politics, and the way that people are treated. I think that's the main thing, is that the way people are treated, and I think most people can agree with that. And yeah, I guess we're over 30 minutes here, thanks to the to the comments. It would be interesting to find out how many Chinese actually use VPNs. Well, the other problem is not just VPNs, but also information that they know how to gain access to. It's very strange. Like I remember years ago how Chinese people would contact me, and they would contact me and they would be like, "Do you still have MSN Messenger?" And I'm like, "Dude, like nobody has used MSN Messenger in like years, And and then I when I first learned about China was back when like QQ was really popular, and I used to purchase things through China. I would buy and sell things from China. And one day, they were like, "Hey, do you have QQ?" And I'm like, "What is QQ?" It's really hard to bridge that gap. Even with access, it's kind of hard to bridge that gap, because China has created this system that is very different, and America, we have this system that is very different. So it's like, even with VPNs, it's very difficult to bridge that gap, because On YouTube here, you have like Japanese people that use YouTube, and sure they use YouTube in Japanese or whatever. But many different languages use YouTube and Facebook and things like that. And so it's very easy that if you want to bridge that gap and you want to contact different people and to read media of different origin, it's very easy to do. But if you don't know where that media is to begin with, because you're not used to searching it, it's kind of rough, right? Like I remember when I first went to China, a lot of Chinese people were like, "Yeah, I talked to foreigners on Omegle," and then like if any of you like people here know that like Omegle is usually used for like naughty stuff, and I'm like, "You use Omegle? Why do you use that?" And they were like under the impression that like Chinese people could use. Is that even how you say it? Omegle? Omegle? I don't know. And they were saying that like, yeah, that's how I meet foreigners is on here. And I'm like, what? Like, what are you doing with these foreigners? And it's a misunderstanding, right? It's like they don't understand how to bridge that gap. It's sort of like how Facebook is kind of largely set up for like your school and your work and things like that, and you kind of like add people through Facebook. Not that Facebook is super duper popular anymore, but it's kind of difficult for Chinese people to connect and to make a lot of friends on Facebook because of that. Let's see. They were laughing as U.S. companies moved to China. That's true. I think that was a big mistake in a sense that America, we very much wanted the cheap labor. Like we weren't moving to China to help Chinese people. We were moving there for cheap labor. And the problem was that like they stole us blind, right? They stole our technology, and they forced intellectual property transfer to stay there. And it's just we allowed it for too long. It was just really ignorant on our part. And even today, like it continues, and stealing intellectual property and media and these types of things is in China is like nothing, right? Like in America, you have Spotify and you have to pay. And I realize that people still pirate, music and movies and these things. Sure, it definitely exists. But it's kind of to the point in China to where like you can openly and easily pirate anything on even just like major websites. Like imagine, going to like the YouTube of China and watching movies where they paid nothing to the American companies that helped make those movies. Like they're just it just wouldn't be possible, right? There's always a connection, that's like with Vivo and music on YouTube. They make money off of the advertisements. Well, it's not like that in China unless you're like Taylor Swift or Justin Bieber or something. I remember like I had QQ Music on my phone, and I would listen to music, and there's just all this free music. And then one time someone was like, this Taylor Swift song, just listen to it. And I'm like, why? I don't want to listen to Taylor Swift. And I tried to play her song, and it wanted me to pay in renminbi. I'm like, why does Taylor Swift get pay? Because it was really strange that only Taylor Swift. And yet I could open my other app for music in China, and her music was there for free. So it's just not. Sharing is caring in China, basically. Like they just don't care. American labor got screwed. Yeah, I mean, a lot of Americans this is a completely different discussion, and maybe some people are going to be like, I can't believe he said that. But a lot of times in America, a lot of like left liberal people, they're like, well, we have to bring all the Mexican people to America to do the jobs that Americans don't want to do. And I'm like, what is that? Like picking strawberries? Like let's not act like we're doing them a favor by letting them pick our strawberries. We're not doing China a favor by giving them the jobs that we didn't want to do. We just didn't want to do them. And then we wanted them to do them for cheap, And then that's why like a lot of Chinese people, they're like, oh, I work for an American company in China, and then they get treated the same as every other company because that American company went to China with the intention of treating them like Chinese employees. So it's like even if you work for a foreign company in China, like you're still treated like you work for a Chinese company, right? And because of Chinese laws, it's always treated as a partnership. It's never like a standalone company. So yeah, that's just the way that it is. Why are Germany companies such good friends with the CCP? Without giving away too much information, my wife worked for a German company, and yeah, a German company, and yeah, maybe I don't think it's a German thing. I think it's that if you want to participate in China's money and be a part of it, you can't be anti-China. You got to be pro-China, and by that I mean pro-CCP. Like they're just not going to allow you to be there to make money to survive, unless you're giving them a piece of the pie somehow. And it's not just through taxation; it's through, shared information or something like that. Yeah. China has no trade unions but claims to be communist. Ironic. Man, smart person right there. Smart person. Poor people aren't sending jobs to China. Rich conservatives who are CEOs are doing it. Poor people aren't sending jobs to China. Poor people don't create jobs. Rich conservatives who are CEOs are doing it. Actually, rich CEOs are sending. The largest thing, like if you learn anything about accounting, the thing that you learn is that payroll is like the largest expense. Not only is it a tax expense, but of course it's just a major cost to any business. But to some point, you need people, right? So I think the age-old question of paying labor costs is how to solve it. Well, and people tried to send it overseas, right? But the issue is that you're doing business with the devil in this case. So I mean, and I'm not religious, but you know what I mean, to do business with the wrong side. The whole TPP discussion is a very in-depth discussion. I'm surprised that people will talk about that. My wife tells me the sentiment, and I guess I'm not going in order with these comments. My wife tells me the sentiment in China is for Xi to resign. Anyone in China here? Do I think that it's being said that within the party that there are people that are kind of against Xi Jinping, and that you have to openly support him because he's so powerful. But there has definitely been ideas and speculation and theories that perhaps he has lost some power. I made a video about this with a woman, Tai Xia. She talks about it, where she talks about how he is losing power within the party, that people trust him less, and how some party members think that he's not doing as great as he could. Do I think that a bunch of Chinese people are calling for him to step down? No, I don't think that's, I think that probably for Chinese people, the overall image and idea of Xi Jinping is that he's a strong president, for them, which is kind of, no comment, I guess. Why do no China YouTubers cover the lives of migrant Chinese construction worker or a minimum wage factory worker in a Chinese factory? I think it's a lot like, it's sort of like, why do no Chinese YouTubers go out and show you the camps of Xinjiang? It's not because re-education camps in Xinjiang don't exist. It's because you're not allowed to, really. You're not allowed to go to these places. It's really hard to just walk in a really shitty factory in China with your camera and just like pull out, your giant like lens and just be like, and like get it on camera. Like, I can't just walk in to some place, with my giant lens and be like, let me film your factory where you like slave labor these people. It's just not easy, you know. But because of things like phones and WeChat in China, you definitely see like traces of it. You just don't get any like really good shots of it, you know. But it definitely exists. It's definitely real, and yeah, it's just not easy. Um, let's see, what happened to Guelo? Why did he go off of the pro-China deep end? Did he get a talking to? Who knows? Kind of shocked about Jayo. He normally kept his stuff non-political. I agree. Like Jayo, anti-China, pro-China. He became a pro-China YouTuber, whatever in the hell that means. Actually, Jayo he's not a bad guy. He's really not. I think he's fairly naive, is to put it nice. I don't want to, I don't want to be too hard on him in a live stream, but I think he's quite naive. And I think a lot of the pro-China, again, the pro-China generalization, I think these people they're quite naive or choose to be naive about these things. Because Jayo, like, understand that, like, he's wealthy, or at least his wife's family is wealthy. He has the greatest opportunity out of any of us YouTubers to ride his disability retard bike, around China and show people the amazing China. But he doesn't. Instead, he just became really political. And he's kind of another one of these people that I talk about in a future video. He's more like anti-Trump than he really is, pro-China. He hates Trump, right? And so his bad things about America is really just like him talking about Trump, and again, you can't take a moral high ground. You can't live in China, support CCP, and then take the moral high ground against Donald Trump, because it's just like, I don't know, it's like punching yourself in the face. It's just it doesn't work, Are you free to drive a car into the country in China to explore villages and poor areas? Yeah, sure, you can. But what'll happen, and this is from my personal experience, is that some places that you go, the police will tell you that perhaps you're not wanted there. I will tell you something that happened to me. We went to a small town, and we just went to a small restaurant, a noodle shop, not a big deal. Me and a couple other foreigners, and a crowd kind of started, and the police just told us that we had to leave. So, we didn't plan on staying there. So it's like, was it illegal? I don't know if I would say it was illegal for us to be there. I don't want to cross that boundary of saying it was illegal. But the police definitely told us that we should leave, that we were creating too much of a stink, I guess you could say, in town, because I just wanted to eat some noodles, but a lot of people, were watching us, and why? So many foreigners today, even though there's only 3 of us, So I don't want to say it's illegal, but yeah. Barrett's the same, anti-Trump. Yeah, a lot of them are just anti-Trump. Like, that's the thing. Like Barrett and Jayo and China Teacher Bland because he's so boring. Yeah, they're like anti-Trump. They're like, that's all they want to talk about. And that happens in America. And I talk about this in my next upcoming video, about how, like, a lot of these CCP shills are just anti-Trump. They really just hate Trump. They really dislike Trump. And again, I don't think Trump's perfect by any means. But, even in America, a lot of Democrats and a lot of liberals are just like, yeah, Trump, yeah. And it's like, who cares? Like, why does your whole life revolve around hating one guy? It's just so pathetic, I've been to the countryside. Nothing happened to me, but I'm handsome. Yeah, but I mean, I think there's also like the countryside, and then there's like never seen a white person before countryside. I just think that, like, if you walk around in certain areas, you will definitely create more attention, than other places. So, Sketchy Dustin. Well, I understand if you're in China, you should be anti-Trump, but yes, Trump sucks. Okay. I'd stay away from the TV news stations. Your presence is disrupting social harmony. Oh, that's what China's about. We've got to have social harmony. And if you disrupt that social harmony, you go to jail. Right now, you go to jail, because it's always the excuse. You disrupted that social harmony. All Chinese I talk to are sure Trump will win because of Americans. I think Trump will win because Biden sucks. Like I said, Biden's like borderline dementia. Like if Biden is so much weaker than Hillary Clinton, and if Trump can beat Hillary, then he can definitely beat Biden. I'm sorry. Ironic how pro CCP YouTubers B-word about Western. Why am I censoring myself? I don't know. B-word about Western media bias. The American Public Broadcast Service covers poverty and discrimination in America and society. Does this happen in China? See, that's the other thing, is like people are like, oh, in America, the coronavirus is so horrible. And it's like, yeah, but we're also reporting like our real numbers to the best of our ability, and we also like report our crime statistics and all of these things to the best of our ability, right? And so sometimes it makes us look like a lot of crap when we could easily just do what China does and just lie and be like, we're the greatest country in the world. We could easily do that, but like, we just don't care. I think that's the thing. It's less about the face. Americans are not afraid to be critical of one another. If you're a Biden supporter and you're angry that I say Biden has borderline dementia, well, I mean, that's okay. We can agree to disagree. But you can't say that type of stuff in China. It's just they fake the numbers. No one in China is pro-Trump. Come on. Yeah, that's well, don't say no one. Don't say no one. CCP loves showing the USA riots. It's on 24. I know, right? Like, that was another thing that, like, Jerry from This Is China, that's part of his like pro-China thing, is he's like, there are no riots in China. I'm like, did you not see that video of like the police officer like kicking the old farm woman down the hill for rioting? Of course they have riots in China. It's just, they don't televise that stuff. They don't put it out there. And usually when they're fighting and doing that type of stuff, it's because, the Chinese government is stealing their land or not allowing them to farm or taking their homes or, something like that. It's not, they don't allow anti-government riots, that's for sure. But, it definitely does happen in China. Sure, of course. Entire U.S. being on fire, destroyed by riots and forest fire. Yeah, that's true. Like America, like California, beautiful state, beautiful place. Maybe one day I will live there. I don't know. It burns every year. It burns every year. It's nothing new. It's not a surprise, right? So the fact that they show it all the time is like big deal. Like it burns every year. It sucks, but like we know it's gonna happen. The riots, I don't think you can compare the riots, and I disagree with the riots in America. The protesting, Black Lives Matter, whatever you want to call it at this point. I think it's protesting. I disagree with it. When I say protesting, I mean rioting. I disagree with rioting, destroying things. Protesting is fine. But rioting, destroying places, businesses, cars, that sucks, right? But people in America feel as if they are being treated wrongly. And in America, we have this thing where if you feel like you're treated wrongly, you still have a voice, you can speak up. And admittedly, rioting is very much the wrong way to speak up and get attention. But again, in America, the laws can change. Things can change if the voice is loud enough. Whereas if in China, the voice is not loud enough ever. unless the CCP decides that they themselves want to make the change. So when you look at America and you say it's such a horrible thing, the rioting, yeah, the rioting itself is horrible, but it's for a cause that many people believe is a just cause. And even though I think that rioting is horrible, again, it's just something that even protesting for that reason wouldn't be allowed in China. You can't protest against the Han people in China and expect good things. So yeah, all of USA is bankrupt. Yeah, without getting too financial, I won't do that. Maybe in a future video I will talk about that. Let's see. Going to end the stream within the next couple minutes here, guys. Again, thank you everyone for talking so much. Thank you so much for that, and I appreciate it. I love you all. Maybe we'll last another 4 more minutes to make it an hour long. Look at how weak the United States has become. How weak it has become. I don't know. I mean, a lot of people always want to say that like America sucks and that it's weak. I don't know. Americans have far more freedom than people in China, so I guess it depends on how you define weak. I would define a weak country as a country where the people have no freedom and they're controlled by their government. To me, that would be pretty weak, because that would mean that if anything ever goes down, then the people are going to turn on the government fairly quickly. I mean, after all, just like look at all the people in Hong Kong that are carrying around American flags and asking Donald Trump to liberate them. So yeah. Guerilla60 drunkenly stated intention to visit Taiwan. Taiwan? You mean China? That's obviously China, right? I mean, come on now. Bankrupt, not yet. Deficit skyrocketing, minimal forecast, fire, blah, 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 blah. Deficit, the thing about the deficit is that when you look at America's actual revenue and income and things like that, yeah, the debt is a lot, but it's not something that's impossible to pay back, but it's definitely a lot. Yeah, sure. What do you think the differences are between the current pro-CCP YouTubers living in China and the previous foreigners who defected to China during the revolution? Holy Snickers bar. We're going to say that. That is a good question. Something that will be probably talked about in a future video. Do Chinese people know Stonehenge is 5,000 years old? This has always been like a huge debate of mine. People are like, China is 5,000 years old. China is 6,000 years old. I'm like, sorry. But like, not only is it debated like with by Chinese people, it's debated by the Western world. And that's something that like Chinese people always say against America. They're like, oh, America is such a new country. We have 5,000 years of culture. And I'm like we get our culture, at least white people, right? We come from Europe. And so we adopt that, just because we're like living on the ground in North America doesn't change the fact that we have like culture that dates back in time. In fact, the American government is older than the Chinese government, but no one ever wants to talk about that, So, yeah. Haley Rule, Canada is part of North America still, I believe. Is it? Should I? Oh, I guess it is, right? Canada is the real 51st state. No, Canada is America's hat. America's hat. We, Americans, Canadians, we like to argue with each other. But Canadians, they're good people. They're good people. But hockey sucks. I'm sorry. If you're Canadian and you like hockey, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It sucks. To me, hockey's like NASCAR. Hockey's like I'm always waiting for a fight, and NASCAR like I'm always waiting for a wreck. You know what I mean? I have no interest in the sport. I could visit North Korea and make a video showing how good you could, right? That's like what everyone does with like Xinjiang. They drive around in Xinjiang and they're like, look how beautiful Xinjiang is. There are no re-education camps here. And it's like, sorry, but we have evidence. We have videos of re-education camps in China. Just because you're not driving by one that very second doesn't mean that they don't exist. It's a very true point. You could film anywhere, and you could make it look good, right? So yeah. Um, Guelo 60 is the stereotypical mediocre middle-aged wash-up in China. That's a little rough. That's a little rough that you're just gonna throw that out there. So NBA survived China at least. That's the thing. Like Chinese people love NBA. And I'm going to say this, and this is going to hurt some feelings, but Chinese people are some culture vultures, man. I've seen so many Chinese people that be wearing all these basketball clothes and they ain't never played basketball in their life. Chinese people love basketball, right? And even just watching it and acting like they love it with all their friends and stuff. And again, what I just said is going to anger some people, but Chinese people wouldn't do without basketball. When I was there and basketball was canceled for a while, there were like people that were like installing apps on their phone to watch it illegally. I'm like, geez, it's just basketball, and I love basketball. I love watching basketball. I don't play it anymore, obviously. Way too fat for that. But yeah. Let's see. It's rough. It's true. Yes. Yeah. Hey there too, Jedi Solo. You've been around a long time on my channel, Jedi Solo. Holy crap. You're like one of the more original people on my channel. I appreciate that so much that you have been around for so long. That's amazing, actually. Remember when the coronavirus first hit? Oh, Wuhan is a amazing city. Some YouTuber said. I'm going to say this about Wuhan, and most people I know that have been to Wuhan hated it. Almost everyone I know, and myself included, I just didn't like the city. I like their noodles, but I didn't like the city. And then after like Corona happened, I was like, it would be Wuhan. Like that shit ain't gonna happen in Shenzhen. The Corona doesn't come from Shenzhen, doesn't come from Chengdu or Guangzhou. It would be Wuhan, which is not scientific. It was just a joke. But every foreigner that I know practically that went to Wuhan has like disliked it, and I know that's not scientific either. But I'm just saying. I just thought it was funny. Wow, that's sad to change your name to rag on a guy. People on the internet are harsh. I always tell people, I'm like, if you're gonna stream, you're gonna be on the internet. Like you gotta have thick skin. Like the stuff that people do to me is like insanity. Like people have like created accounts with like my dad's name and like put my family's old address on the internet. Some people take it way too serious. They think that like we're just so anti-China and just hate China that they're going to expose everything. And it's just like, dude, they're just YouTube videos. They're just YouTube videos, As much as I dislike Guelo 60, I wouldn't really kick him out of a wheelchair down some steps. I don't think so anyways. I don't think I would do that. Let's see. I saw a great BBC, Big Black, BBC, just kidding, filmed and documenting the views and existence of Native Americans. Yeah, no comment. What do you think about Chengdu? Chengdu, I've only been there once. Awesome city, though. I love spicy food. Chengdu was great. I feel like Chengdu is one of the better cities for foreigners to live in China. Austin in China lives there. Yeah. I think it's definitely one of the better cities for foreigners to live in. I have to be honest. I think living in the bigger cities, like Guangzhou, Shenzhen, Beijing, Shanghai, is where most foreigners live. But I think a lot of foreigners would do better if they lived in a smaller city, a medium-sized city. I think that people are just afraid. It's hard to get out of your Western bubble and just go full China. So mad respect to those people that speak no Chinese and just go full China. But learn your damn Chinese, you pro CCP shills, when you can't even say like hot coffee in Chinese at a Starbucks. Like it's effing embarrassing, guys. It's so embarrassing. Oh, and Fly Vegan, 399 euros. Thank you so much. I feel bad, dude. Like, you gave me money and I didn't point it out for like 10 minutes. Like, just, ow, sorry, man. I didn't mean to do it. I didn't see it, man. I'm sorry. Let's see. Even NASCAR knows. Yeah, even NASCAR knows NASCAR is over. That's true. That's true. Nancy boys are attacking you. Yes. People take YouTube drama too seriously. Yeah, you know, that's the thing. People think that it's real, right? People think that it's real. And I'm not saying that like I'm not saying it's fabricated, okay? But what I'm saying is that when push comes to shove, we could all sit down at a table without punching each other in the face, except Guelo 60. He'd probably get punched by someone, but you know, besides that is future video topic. You guys are so smart. Like you guys like know what's coming in the future, and you kind of like expose it yourself. You know, that's the thing. People always say like, oh, how do you have ideas for videos? I'm like, dude, like my comment section is like awesome. People in my comment section are so helpful. People on like my Patreon page are so helpful. Like you guys do like half the work for me. Like I just sit in front of the camera, you know? I wouldn't kick G60. That's like his rapper name, G60. I wouldn't kick G60 down steps, but I'd sure kick Lee Barrett down. Really, I think Lee Barrett actually makes some fairly good content. I don't like their anti-America content because I'm American. But I wouldn't like it if it was anti-Canada or anti-whatever, right? I just think it's propaganda-driven. But some of their travel videos, like they're not bad. They're really not too bad, actually. Holy crap. Steve Austin, we can rebuild him. Oh gosh. Order an Americano. Yeah. Snarky guy says, I lived in a smaller tier 88. Tier 88, that's pretty low, bro. Tier 88 town for years before moving to Shanghai. Yeah, like I think I wouldn't want to live like too low, but I think a Chengdu would be okay. A Chengdu would be wonderful, actually. Criticizing America's Middle East doesn't make me anti-American, so why is criticizing? I agree. Like if people want to be like, oh, America did horrible shit in the Middle East, like go right ahead, like say it, you know? You'll find plenty of Americans that agree with you, you know? I went full China. It wrecked me for the first 2 weeks. Yeah, I could 2 weeks. I think that's a fairly quick adjustment. I think it's weird. G60 has not learned Chinese after 12. I know, right? We ni hao. 我叫Guela 60. Like learn something, you know? Like, you know, like I don't know. I couldn't live in a country and have to depend on my wife to do all that shit all the time. Like even Nathan Rich opens his videos with a "Dazahao," you know, he at least throws something in there. Like, you know, can these guys even use the word potato in Chinese? I don't think so. Like if they had to ask for a potato, like they just couldn't do it. And to me, like that's, you know, again, I'm taking shots at people in a live stream, and I'm not trying to, but seriously, I think that like if you're a foreigner and you're living in China and you're really pro-China, because that's what this stream is supposed to be about. If you're really pro-China, be pro-China, man. Learn some damn Chinese. Learn the language, because your life in China will be so much better if you just learn some Chinese, you know? It really would be. Lao Y versus G60. G60 versus Nathan Rich. MMA. Guelo 60 versus Nathan Rich. That would be interesting. For some, YouTube is their only chance for validation. No comment, bro. No comment. I made a video on China pro YouTubers versus shill and pro versus anti. Awesome, Michael. Damn, an hour and 10 minutes, and we're still going. I I keep watching Sex Past 60. That's the thing. Like I always call him. I'm like going retard here. My English is going retarded. I always call him Sexpat 60, but like some of the names in the comment section are like so creative. Sex Pest 60. Holy crap, that's rough, man. That's rough. Chinese need to know real history and truth. The internet is one way, but CCP uses Chinese, slide. Yeah, of course, right? Dumbrell does well speaking with confidence. Yeah, Dumbrell actually does. He does speak Chinese. He does fairly well from what I've seen, and that's great. Good for him. But he still told Laowai86 that he could speak better Chinese than him. And then when Laowai86 offered to debate Daniel Dumbrell in Chinese, he turned it down. Just a quick insider fact for those people that didn't know that Laowai86 was going to debate Daniel Dumbrell, and then when he said, "Let's do it in Chinese since your Chinese is better than mine," Daniel Dumbrell turned it down. I don't know why. Snarky says, my Chinese isn't great, but I know how to order food, make small talk, and talk dirty to my wife in Chinese. That's the basics. That is the basics. If you can dirty talk to some women in China, man, you're doing pretty good. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, you should learn the basic necessities to go around, do things, ask directions, get in a taxi, order food. Like at least be respectful enough to do that to Chinese people, because you don't want to go to China and be like, hello, my name is Billy and I want one of those and I want one of those and I want one of those, because people are like, are you retarded? Just learn some basic Chinese. It's not that difficult. I think there's this idea that learning Chinese is super hard. And I don't think Chinese is super hard to learn. I just think it's a lot of work, right? So if you put in the work, you can learn that shit. Unless you're Guelo60, he has no chance. I lived in Beijing 3 years. I'm going to stay in Chengdu for a while and maybe Chongqing. I've heard great things about Chongqing. Everyone I know that lives in Chongqing has always loved living in Chongqing. So I'm going to assume it's an amazing place. Really looking forward to Chengdu. My buddy lives there who gave me the idea to go to China in the first place. Good. Jayo sucks she balls. How did you come up with that name? Like, I see you in my comment section all the time, and I'm like, how did he come up with this name? Is he trolling? Is he not trolling? I don't know. You should do another video of shill Star Wars that had me on the foot crying on the foot crying and laughter. Yeah, I think that a lot of my videos are they're really inspired by a lot of things that I enjoy and that people enjoy, and things that are popular at the time. And it just seemed interesting to kind of do a Star Wars themed video. So when I had that opportunity, it was like, sure, why not, right? And my super amazing editing team of 57 people were like, hey, we're going to do it. And I was like, let's do it then. We'll do it. And so I told all 57 of them, they're in this room right now. You just can't see them. They're very short people. No offense, Snarky. They're just very short people. And so you can't see them, but there's definitely an editing team down here and a guy holding this light over here. So yeah. Let's see. Love to have the China shills give a presentation at the University of Singapore China Sales. Bruh. Let's not embarrass ourselves here. Let's not. I will struggle in China since I speak you speak the Guangdonghua really. I only know like curse words. And my wife is always like, oh, why don't you learn Cantonese? And I'm like, just no. Bird is on muscle relaxants. That's what we're calling it, huh? Okay. Just trolling Jayo sucks balls. No, dude, your name is funny though. It's definitely like you're going to get some attention with it. Is Lee Barrett on mushrooms? You might be onto something. In Jerry's video today, he said he's off to Ching Chong Ching Chong. He's off to Ching Chong. So racist, man. You know, Jerry's English is so bad. I'm not trying to say my English is amazing, but his English is so bad that I'm like, he's hard to understand sometimes. So if his English is hard to understand, you know his Chinese has got to be really low level, you know? Let's see. Did you get the money? Don't threaten to quit. Yeah, don't make me quit. If you guys don't give me money, then I quit. Actually, though, like, thank you to Fly Vegan for that donation, just because I didn't know how the super chat thing worked. I didn't know if like people just pressed the button and like just donated or like how it worked, but apparently it works because he gave me like €4. So like, I mean, that's cool, bro. I don't know how I get that money, but thanks for doing it, you know. Cantonese is hard. Yeah, the extra tones in Cantonese is like, I have to be honest. Like, I can use tones in Mandarin very well, but I don't like it. You know, it's like I don't know, but you have to use it. I have a stream coming out tonight on tattoos in China. This culture really seems to be blowing up in China. I really wanted to get, and this is way off topic. I don't care anymore. I really wanted to get a tattoo in China. I really did. I have a tattoo. I'm not going to show my. Okay, I'm too fat, but I got a tattoo in Japan by a Japanese artist, and I wanted to get one in the Zhonghua in China, and I'm giving myself a hug on stream here. I wanted to get a tattoo in China, but every tattoo parlor that I went to in Guangzhou was very unimpressive. So I was always afraid. I was like, I would look through their little book, and I'm like, because like once the tattoo goes on, it's not easy to take off. So yeah, but that's pretty. Yeah, I would like to do it though. I would have wished I would have got a tattoo in China. Let's see. Jerry, just like a dude from Trailer Park Boys. No comment. No comment. But I will say you're like not the first person to say that. You're like, and I'm not saying that, but you're not the first person I've talked to. There's been a lot of people say that actually. Let's see here. Hep C in China. On your tattoo. Oh gosh. Japanese do the best work for sure. Japanese people are so precise and so careful. And Japan is an awesome country. I loved Japan. I just loved Japan so much. I will go back for sure. Is it okay to make only positive videos in China? I don't see a problem. No, there's not a problem. I don't think your focus should be to make positive or negative videos. I think you should just make videos in China. I think that's the thing. If you're showing the food, the culture, the people, then you're being positive, and you're being far more pro-China than any of these people that tell you that they're pro-China, because they're just being political. They're not being pro-China. Pro-China people don't go around talking about politics all the time. They go around just showing you to China, right? Because that's all you have to do for China. Cody Columbia says, "Hey, dude, love your channel." Yeah, thank you so much. It's crazy to think that people would watch this ugly face. Amazing, dude. I appreciate it so much. Why not report what you experience? People should report what they experience. I agree. You shouldn't make pro-China videos only if you see negativity. You should report what you see. And I think that's what most people try to do. And that's the difference between pro-China and anti-China, is that most of the anti-China people and anti-China are just showing what they experienced. They're not anti-China. Let's see. About to get off here. Almost an hour and 20 minutes. Holy shit, guys. Blondie, straight out of China. I'm not going to comment. I don't want to piss off the 4 women viewers that I have on my channel. It's like a sausage fest in here. Let's be honest. I don't want to lose my 4 female viewers and say the wrong thing. Can you explain the difference between guns in U.S. and America? Sorry, U.S. and China. Like, actually, like, guns weren't outlawed super long ago in China. They used to have guns, and I knew a family member that had a gun in China as a relic, and it was illegal, and they had one, and it was a very small gun, not a big gun, and it was just kind of a relic, something from years and years ago. Guns in America. Man, that's a completely another topic to be talked about that I kind of made a video about a couple years ago. It's really outdated and I should make again. That's a good point. I will write that down. But yeah, I want to thank you guys all for watching. I think I'm gonna get off of here. As I always say at the end of my videos, I love you guys so much. Thank you for taking the time to watch me. Everyone, please give me a thumbs up. Let's see the thumbs up. Can we try to get to 30? I mean, come on, 30 guys. You're not ugly, by the way. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. And yeah, head on over to Patreon. Head on over. You don't got to give me money every video. Head on over to Twitter. Guys, check out my Twitter. I'm trying to be active on Twitter. Does anyone use Twitter anymore? Some people are active on Twitter. But yeah, head on over to my Twitter and follow me there and make some discussion with me there. Thank you guys. Again, I love you all so much and have a good day.